Hello and welcome to today's video. So this is a reviews roundup. So over the last couple of months I've had quite a few new publications sent to me in the post, and I thought I'd group them all together and do like an overall reviews roundup. So we've got the latest issue of the Men's Adventure Quarterly, always a highlight, that one. So looking forward to having a look through that. We've got slightly delayed for me the autumn issue of Phantasmagoria. So this one's been out a little while, but wanted to include it in this reviews roundup. We've also got an issue of Occult Detective. Now this was given to me at the Innsmouth Literary Festival, and I've had a chance to have a look through it now, and we've got that one to have a look at as well. We've got this one from my friend Gary Lavisi over in the States. This is the latest one in his notebook series. The last one we did was the Sherlock Holmes notebook. This is the Fantastic Detective notebook, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. And then just this week I've had turn up the latest parcel from the Penguin Collectors Society, which has got 4 publications in this time round, so quite a bit to look at in there as well. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so we'll kick off with the latest issue of the Men's Adventure Quarterly. Now this is issue number 13. This is the full colour edition. There is also a version which you can purchase in black and white, and you can also get this one digitally now. This is Fatal Femmes, not Femme Fatales, Fatal Femmes. And it says, featuring stories with gun moles, black widows, pretty poisoners, kiss me killers, wicked wives, ice nymphs, silk assassins. Now, once again, this one has been edited by Robert Dice and Bill Cunningham, and this issue has got 2 guest contributors, Terence Layhew and Eric Compton. Now, you may know Eric Compton as one of the co-hosts of the excellent Paperback Warrior podcast, which has been going for a long time, and also obviously the website, and they also have a YouTube channel now, so it's worth checking out. And Terence Layhew is a Bond fanatic, I could say. He does a Suit Up podcast, and he's also an author in his own right. So that's the guest contributors this time round. And in fact, there we are. It gives them a little write-up. And once again, this is designed by Pulp 2.0, which is Bill Cunningham's studio. Absolutely fantastic. It's a beautifully produced magazine. I always look forward to this one. Really well designed. And let's have a little look through the contents page then. So we've got the usual editorial from Bob, and then a little breakdown of what's in the magazine. So The Gun Who Hated G-Men, David Malsroth, and from C. So it tells you the magazine that it was first printed in, the Men's Adventure magazine it was printed in, and when that was first published. And all this artwork is pulled from those original magazines. It's enhanced, sometimes it's reformatted and then put back down. I was very pleased to see this one, which is Mrs. Herman and Mrs. Kenmore. This is something I've never read before. Don Honig. It's from the Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine from May 1958. That's one of those like little digest ones, and I got to admit I am quite tempted to collect them. Out of all the digests from the 50s that are non-science fiction, that's the one that I really like the look of. It's the Alfred Hitchcock mystery one. Then we've got Rich Lovers Wanted, Apply, Mademoiselle Creel, Champs-Élysées by Warren Saber. That's from Stag, January 1960. Then we've got Eric's article, which looks at the top 10 Fatal Femmes in books, basically. So 10 books featuring Fatal Femmes, which is a really good article. Kiss Me and Die, Hiram Herbert from True Adventures, December 1960. Blood for a Nympho's Flesh, Buzz Rowan from All Man, November 1962. The Incredible Norwegian Ice Nymphs, Dean Ballinger from New Man, September 63. Then we've got Terence Layhew's piece on the James Bond girls. He was a lucky guy to get that assignment, wasn't he? Now, this is in the gallery, and it would take a book in itself. In fact, there has been an odd book on the James Bond girls, but some of the better ones, shall we say, are featured in the article there. Then you've got The Ever-Loving Nude, Who Watched Her Boyfriends Die by Paul Chadwick from Real Men, May 1969. And then we've got, to round it out, we've got Vendetta on the Streets of Lonely Fraulein's, and this is by Mario Cleary, who was a pen name for Mario Puzo, of course, who went on to be the writer of The Godfather, and that's from Men, March 1966. And once again, I was really looking forward to reading that one, because it's a Mario Puzo that I've never read, and I really like his work. I'd love the Men's Adventure Library, perhaps, to round up all his work. That would be fantastic from the Mams. Anyway, this is Bob's introduction. Some of the latest stuff that's come his way. He mentions about the final issue of Paperback Fanatic, which came out earlier this year. The revised edition of Steve Holland, The Torn Shirt Sessions, which is an incredible book. Absolutely incredible. And yeah, the Men's Adventure Reader. That one is, I think that is now just published, that one. Yeah, we've got the Paperback Fanatic there, Steve Holland, and this is one that they're working on, which is Gil Cohen Inside Out. Gil Cohen, the Men's Adventure Library have already published one book on him called One Man Army, which is a lot of his, what's he called, I'll probably say here, for Don Pendleton's Mac Bolan series. Gil Cohen did a lot of those, and they've been brought together already in one book, but this is another one. Covers and illustrations that Gil Cohen did for the Men's Adventure magazines, not book jackets per se. And lastly, Bill's new HQ, because Bill's moved house this year, and how very cool to have the Pulp 2.0 logo on his wall outside. I salute you, sir. Anyway, there we are. Let's look in it. There's Eric, and there's a little bit about the Paperback Warrior podcast. Absolutely fantastic. I listen to every single issue as they come out. They're a little bit more sporadic these days because the two hosts are very busy themselves with real life stuff. But it's great stuff. And then Terrence's podcast as well, the Suit Up Pod. And there he is, looking very dapper. Throughout the magazine, you do see the period adverts as well. I don't mind them. They are what they are, really. They don't sort of hold anything for me. But it gets the authenticity of reading a Men's Adventure magazine. And there you have it, really. So we'll zoom through these now, and you get an idea. I'm not going to show you every single page, but this is the one. This is the Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine. He often featured on the covers in some form, sometimes as photographs, sometimes as artist renditions. And we'll work our way from the back going forward. And you get a really good idea of what to expect. Now, I've got a whole playlist of, here's the Bond article, of Men's Adventure magazines where I do look at them in a bit more detail. I just sort of ran out of time, and I wanted to get this video out before Christmas. I do only do 2 videos a week now, so I don't quite have the time to do dedicated videos devoted to all these different magazines and things that I get sent. But I do try to give them the exposure that they absolutely deserve. But if you're interested in the previous 12 issues of Men's Adventure Quarterly, there is a dedicated playlist, so you can go and check those out. But this, I think, will give you a very, very good idea of what to expect. I think the colour edition is the way to go because the illustrations are just so crisp, and I wouldn't want this in black and white. I suppose the ebook would be okay if it's on like a tablet, for example, but I wouldn't want to be reading this on a Kindle. This is the way. If you want to get them at all, I would say get them in this form. It's brilliant. So there we are. Now, next month, or the next issue, not because it is a quarterly, is going to be on Bigfoot. And let's just have a little look at the tease there. Look, Men's Adventure Quarterly takes aim at the legend of Bigfoot, stomping away in issue 14. How fantastic is that? And I have read the Mario Puzo story now, and it is fantastic. I just want to show you a little bit of that one. Here, there's a little feature on it. Yeah, Vendetta on the Streets. It's got the introduction on this particular one by Bob Dice, and he gives a little bit of background to it, and of course, how popular Mario Puzo became once the Godfather got published. And here's the original article. Yes, and the heroine there is Scarlet Tracy, and Bob mentions how this could have very easily been almost like a plot line for a movie, and what a movie potentially it would have made. And I agree, it would have made a great film. But anyway, there it is. That's the latest issue of the Men's Adventure Quarterly. It's just been published, and it's yet another winner. Okay, so this is the latest issue of Phantasmagoria, number 27. Now, it's got an autumn 2025 cover date on it. This is the latest issue. I'm told by the editor, Trevor Kennedy, that the new issue is out early in 2026. And this is yet another beast, an absolute beast. It's 300 pages. Love the front jacket. Looks like a member of the undead there is rising from the ground, clutching an old VHS tape by the looks of it. Yeah, it's fantastic. On the back here, Brink Stevens from 2007. This was Brink's Tales of Horror, and she is featured in this issue. And let's have a little look through. And there she is again there. Brink the Barbarian. And here's the contents. Now, we'll go through the mag as best I can, but it starts off really with the non-fiction articles and interviews, and then it goes into a section on fiction, and then sort of a summing up at the end, as it were. Good advert for the Alchemy Book of the Dead. That was published last year, and there is a review of that on the channel. And here is Trevor's introduction, taking ourselves seriously for a change. So great news that Phantasmagoria has actually been nominated for a little clutch of awards, which is fantastic news. So although it didn't win any, it has been nominated for some, most notable the British Fantasy Awards. So fantastic work, brilliant, Trevor, for that. And you know, the magazine can only go from strength to strength, I think. So yeah, brilliant that was that you've been even nominated is quite an honour, and well deserved, absolutely. Then we move on to Trevor's interview with, here she is, Brink Stevens. Now, Brink rose to fame in the film Sorority Babes, which was quite the movie in the late 80s, and she's back for the sequel, Sorority Babes 2, but she's not in it. She may have a little role. I think she's actually directing it, and that one I think has just been released. There she is today. It's a Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowlerama 2. That was from 2022. There's some of her other stuff. So yeah, quite nostalgic, this one. And I mean, you've probably seen her. If you're of a certain age and you watched a certain sort of a movie, you've probably seen her in something over the years. And yeah, it's a great little interview, and sort of full of nostalgia, this. Then this is some of the Phantasmagoria on tour. And they were out and about. There's some of the team there. There's Trevor. And they were out and about at various shows doing signings. They were at EasterCon in Belfast. They did a signing in Forbidden Planet, which is very cool. And they attended Fright Club, which is that one there, which had Butterball from Hellraiser, was in attendance. So that's very cool. Then they have another interview with artist Graham Humphreys. Now, Graham Humphreys did these incredible, and you could say iconic, pieces of artwork. Just look at that. These, I mean, they are iconic. They absolutely are. They're so memorable. He's still working today, did stuff for rock groups as well as like movie posters and things like that. Absolutely an absolute talent. And once again, I love the way that these are beautifully reproduced. They're really nice and sharp images. And the whole magazine is in colour throughout, if the original image was colour. And you get your money's worth, let's put it that way. So yeah, superb. Now, then we've got this one, which is Scary Stories, which is a young adult sort of horror anthology. This is selected by Stephen Jones, and there's a little overview of the book, and that's then followed by an interview with some of the contributors. Here they are here. That's what I like, is start them young. That's what I say. And then Planet of the Vampires, a little look at Planet of the Vampires, a very little advert for there, handsome chap there. And, well, as I said, it's just stacks and stacks of great content. As you can see, we can't go through all 300 issues. There's just too much to look at. But this is, I wanted to go to the start of the fiction here. So here we are, and there's some recognisable names. You'll recognise Ramsey Campbell, of course, and Graham Masterton are perhaps two of the biggest, but there's other names there as well who you may well have read. And they also contribute. Just have a look at the end of the non-fiction stuff. Very cool. There was a look at Afterlife, the series Afterlife, which ran for 2 series on ITV, which is amazingly almost 20 years old. Really great. It's such a great rounded magazine. This is a bit of everything for everybody. Here's the fiction, which is interspersed with illustrations as well as you go along. There's quite a lot of fiction. It's a good 150 pages of fiction here. So this is not a quick read. This is something to really get stuck into. But I like it because you can just dip in and out. Now, one of my favourite sections is this, which is the reviews. And as I said, the reviews are just the right length. They're about a page or so each. I was surprised at how much is being published by PS Publishing. As them and predominantly Titan Books feature the most in these, and there's some great reviews, really great reviews. Loads of stuff that I fancy now after having read this. Even the adverts is for interesting publications. There's a great crime one that I spotted. I thought, oh, I'm going to pick that one out. So yeah, and that's a really nice way to round the issue out with. Look, you see stacks and stacks of reviews. It's brilliant. Look at some of the Basil Copper stuff from PS again. PS Publishing. Let's get a review of that one's on the channel. It's good stuff. It really is. 28 years later. Clown in a Cornfield. This is just the latest movies in that. Heretic. And then some feedback. So very cool. I think you'll agree. It's another winner. Now this one, like Men's Adventure Quarterly before, and I think pretty much almost all the magazines we're going to be having a look at today are available on Amazon, and I'll link to them and their accompanying websites in the description down below. But yeah, Phantasmagoria, another fantastic issue. Really good stuff. Okay, so the next thing we're looking at is Occult Detective magazine. Now this is issue 11 from summer 2025, and this is a perfect bound book. And Cat Haven Press, and I was given this one by one of the editors, Dave Bretsky, at the recent Innsmouth Literary Festival. That was sort of a month or so ago. Now, I've not had a chance to read this one cover to cover, but I have had a pretty good look through. And once again, it's a pretty sizable tome. It's like 260 odd pages, so it's quite the tome. There's a fair bit of reading in here. So let's have a little look at the contents page here, so you've got an idea of what's contained within, really. So the introduction there, then these are the varying stories that are contained within, and a lot of them are illustrated as well. So that's the fiction. Then there is scattered throughout, so it's a mixture of fiction, non-fiction. It's not in a particular layout like that. It is mixed in all together, but you do have some non-fiction as well. And then you've got some reviews towards the end. So very cool, and this is the introduction here so far. So one of the highlights of this is a brand new novella by Dave Jeffrey, and that's a strange case of something familiar, which is exclusive to the Occult Detective magazine, and it's a good 40 pages. Now this is the first entry in a new series called Clutterbuck and Postlethwaite Investigate. Try saying that when you've had a couple of pints. And I started this one last night, and so far it's really intriguing. Now, there is a lot to this. As I say, it's 250 plus pages. And obviously the focus is on small press and privately printed publications. But like a lot of these, there's a lot of gold in here if you're willing to go through it. And this is becoming quite well established now. It's not like it's issue 1. This is issue 11. And I've got to admit, the table at the Innsmouth Festival was really terrific. It looked like loads of stuff on it. And if you've not caught that video, do go and take a look, because it was quite the thing. It's a really great publication. It's really well designed. It's nice, clear, crisp type. And I believe all the back issues are available directly from the Occult Detective magazine website or Cat Haven Press. And I believe you can get these on Amazon as well. So once again, links down below. But I didn't want to not include that one because it's one to keep an eye on. Okay, so this is The Fantastic Detective Notebook by Gary Levisi. Now, this book follows on from the author's Sherlock Holmes notebook and a mystery, crime and noir notebook, both of which I enjoyed immensely, in actual fact, particularly the Sherlock Holmes one. It was fantastic. That was last year. This one comes out from Stockhouse Press, the noted American publisher, and it's another winner. Now, just flicking through, you can see that this is a book that's supremely well illustrated, and if you're a bibliophile, as a lot of viewers of this channel are, I think this is quite an entertaining book that I'm sure you're going to really enjoy. So basically, in Gary's introduction, he reminds us that the original edition of this book was actually published 40 years ago, amazingly, and now it's been fully updated by him and includes a whole host of new authors and series to examine. Now, at the start, there is the index, and it does say that there are 100, it's just great with all these reproductions. There are 170 authors, 75 different book series, 550 books and over 900 separate editions. Now, they're sorted A to Z fashion by the author's surname, so it's easy to look someone up. So you've got the list there. It's A to Z by author's surname. So this is the perfect book to dip in and out of at random, although I actually went through and read this one just straightforward cover to cover, and that was a great way to do it. I spent more time reading on the authors who I was interested in, but there's a lot I'd never heard of, which I was really pleased to find out in here. So it's a really good introduction, and then they get into it. So if we have a little look at some of the entries here, you'll see what you're in for here. See, the Asimov section is really good, and of course he wrote some crime books. And some of these, you see, lots of beautiful cover reproductions. There's a very early digit Asimov there for I, Robot. Of course, his wife did some as well. I made a few little notes as I went along with some sections. So Eric Brown's section was a really detailed look at the Jeff Vaughn trilogy. That looks like an excellent read. Here we are, and that's now on my wants list. So I was reading. This was an enjoyable bit. Big section, of course, on Philip K. Dick, who we'll zoom forward to. And Blade Runner was perhaps his most famous mixture of genres, really, in a detective in a science fiction world. Here we are, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. And later on, the KW Jeter ones in the same sort of universe are also reviewed. Very good. Ron Goulhart gets quite a good section, mainly because he's written so many books. And they do fit the remit of this particular volume. He's one, now that I've read about him, here we are, yeah. Now that I've read about him, I'd like to try some of these, and I'm grateful that I've actually got quite a few indoor editions, so I'm going to be trying a few of those out, I think. Rob Grant from Red Dwarf fame, of course. There was another nice section on, well, Harry Harrison was good, on William H. Nolan. Now, that was somebody who Gary knew personally, William H. Nolan, more famous, of course, for here we are, of the creator of Logan's Run. I think Gary must have met him at his one of his many conventions over the years that he used to organise. And Gary even published some of his work towards the tail end of William's life. They were published in Gryphon Press, so Gary knew him really well. And yeah, this series here, the Space series, his Space series, these are ones, once again, they've now gone onto my wants list of books. There's 5 in the series, and they're definitely, here we go, there's number 1, Space for Hire. Look out for Space, 3 for Space. These are now on my wants list, but there's 5 of them in total. You got William Shatner. So he did, well, I say he did, of course. He's listed in here because of the crossover. But he did the Tech War series. Now, Shatner himself, of course, did not write them. He had a ghostwriter. Not one exclusive ghostwriter, he had a few. And Gary mentions how in the introduction he would always dedicate the introduction to the ghostwriter. So in Tech Kill, for example, this one here, he says, this is Shatner writing, I'd like to dedicate this book to Ron Goulhart, mining the words out of a rich vein of plot, a miner but no miner. His face blackened with printer's ink, his fingers blue with bruises from the keyboard. He tools in unrecognized effort. Hail to you, Ronald, a writer of minor physique but of major talent. And that's really good of William Shatner to do that, because they used his name. It sold the series. It was even a TV series, but he did not write the books. I guess he perhaps provided a little bit of plot, but that was perhaps about it. But that's fair enough. And then towards the end here, we've got Gary's recommended reads, and there's some sort of classics as well that Gary recommends, and promising prospects as well. Obviously, that's like a bit of a personal choice, but Gary's one of the most well-read people I know across all genres, and his science fiction and crime knowledge is absolutely insane. So I wouldn't be arguing with him. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that he recommends, and some of the classics to try out. And yeah, it's a really great book, beautifully illustrated, as I said, throughout. And you're not going to go far wrong with a copy of The Fantastic Detective Notebook by Gary Levisi. Good stuff. Right, the last thing we're going to be looking at is the very latest issue of the Penguin Collector. So this is published by the Penguin Collectors Society, and I've just had their December mail out. So there's 2 a year. Yeah, this is the latest issue, which is number 104. Always fun to pick up a new issue of the Collector. You can only buy these by becoming a member of the Society. You can go to the website and you can buy back issues, but the latest issues with all the various mail outs are available if you are a paid up member of the Society. But I very much recommend it if you are interested in the history and of Penguin Books and just Penguin Books as an entity. This is the magazine for you, so I shall flick through because we've got 4 publications came this time round. This was from the Penguin meeting, the Penguin AGM. So they meet once a year. This year it was in Oxford, and in a hall filled with Penguin books. It was quite the sight, I can tell you that. They also arranged to visit Steve Hare's collection. Once again, I've done a video on that particular meeting, and it was really fantastic. So go and take a look at that. And then the standard, unfortunately, there's the odd obituary. And then features throughout the magazine. And there's some really good ones in here, as there always is. Obviously, this is Penguin's 90th birthday, so there's a bit of coverage of the celebrations that Penguin themselves did. And over the years, Penguin Collectors have been around quite a long time now, since the early 70s. All manner of things are covered. This was particularly good. So this is by Andrew Mallon. It's basically a bit of travel writing, and I really enjoyed this. And this is Andrew, and he went to Portugal hunting down some Portuguese, predominantly pelicans. They are called, there is a particular word for them, and I need to remember, pelicanos. And he was on foot, but he managed to get a huge haul. That's, I think, why he picked up on the. And these are like locally printed versions, Portuguese versions of some pelicans. Very, very scarce indeed. Certainly over here, but they're not mega money. They're only a few pounds if you find them, but try and find them. Some great articles on some POW issues by Al Jollins there, did a great article. He has got a website himself, a paperback revolution, so do look that one up. That's very much based on the Services edition. So we got issue 104, and we also received this time round the delayed copy of Penguin Collector 100. So this one should have come out about 2 years ago. You can see it's perfect bound. It was the 100th issue of the Penguin Collector. It is a fantastic issue, as you can see. It's just under 200 pages. I am still working my way through these myself, so I haven't had a look at it all. That looks interesting straight off the bat. I have got a small piece in here on the Puffin edition of The Hobbit, which I'll show you as we go around. But literally, I've read the other 2 bits. I haven't read this yet, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while. So there's some good stuff here. There's a picture of K-Web there. Yeah. Here's my little article. This is on the Puffin edition of The Hobbit. We get a nice reproduction of the cover there. And also one turned up on eBay, which is apparently signed in 1968. And this is the Puffin edition. Some collectors, cast doubt on it because it went for £3,000. Others have said, yeah, it looks spot on. So who knows? But yeah, it's a really epic issue, this one, and one that I think you'll definitely enjoy. I said I haven't read all the articles myself yet, but I'm certainly looking forward to going through this. I know there's going to be good stuff in here. Yes, excellent. Now, once a year, they do a special publication. This year we've got 2, and these were from the bursaries. There's a Penguin Collectors Society pay for someone, usually a young student, to study a particular aspect of Penguin. Not always, but quite often. And in this particular year, both the bursaries resulted in publications. So this first one is by Phoebe Williams. It's a look at the Peacock brand. So the imprint that Penguin published for sort of teenagers, basically young adults, and it's a visual checklist and guide. Very, very good. lots in here. I was delighted to meet Phoebe at the recent Oxford show, and on the back of that I sent her up a big box of peacocks, different printings and things like that, because she's an absolute completist of them. So that's a really great look. It's the definitive book on the Peacock imprint. And there's this one which I haven't read yet. This is at Stephen Hickson. A look at Jan Tuchnoid and Tuchhold, I should say, Tuchhold, and his great design work. So this will be interesting, I am sure. Yes, but what a fantastic little parcel to turn up, and they do tend to send it out just before Christmas, so it's always nice to have a bit of Penguin readership at Christmas. And if you're not in the Penguin Collector Society, I believe it's £25 for 1 year, but you do get a lot of publications for your money. Obviously you get access to the show each year, which is superb, and they got masses of back issues. Head to the website, it's probably the easiest way to join, and tell them I sent you, because it's fantastic, and you know, the more the merrier. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that little look of the latest magazines and books that have come my way for review. Absolutely fantastic. I think you'll agree. Now, links to everything is in the description down below, so do go over and give them your support. Thanks very much for watching this one today. I hope you've enjoyed this little reviews roundup, and if you have, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage coverage, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.